Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Birdie Golf Club Podcast. It's amazing to have you here. I'm so happy to have you here. I've set up a little second camera. There it is for the start of this show. Just because I thought try something new. You know, it's a bit weird. It's essentially just staring at my ear right now, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's get to this week. Anything interesting happened? Well, Cameron Young won. Again, played unbelievable, blew the field away, and that was cool. I didn't really pay attention much to it, to be honest. I'm a little bit, I don't know how everyone else feels, I'm a little bit tired already of the golf season, and I don't really know why. I really do think this is all a knock-on effect from the disappointment of full swing. It could also be the fact that the Premier League's drawing to quite a fun conclusion, and that's been occupying quite a bit of my time. Let me know in the comments who you support and who you want to see win the league. Obviously, I'm a Manchester United fan, as some of you might be aware, so it's been a very enjoyable weekend for me, and I will be texting Lee at some point, LA Golf Channel, and just consoling him on a disappointing loss for Liverpool at the weekend. So yeah, that's sort of really taken up a lot of my time, a lot of my focus. So yeah, golf has kind of taken a bit of a back seat, but not in practice, that's for sure. The LM1 has been greatly helping me out on that. ShotScope link in the description. I've really been grinding on that. You might be able to see a little bit behind me here. There is some brand new Strixon irons that I've been very, very much enjoying hitting. Lots more on that coming soon. In fact, I think next week it will be an episode all about my fitting, because I think that'll be an interesting thing to bring to you guys as an audience, if you're thinking about going for a fitting or whatever it may be. But kind of get into this week, since the world of golf hasn't been that interesting. I would say not that interesting. The live folding thing is pretty interesting, but again, it's all a little bit up in the air at the moment. No one knows quite what's going on. I think once we get some more concrete stuff on that, it'll be worth a little bit more time. But other than that, we're just we're guessing, really, aren't we, at this moment in time? So I'm not going to talk about it too much. I don't know enough about it to make an episode out of that, so I'm not even going to bother trying. But we're going to get to this week's guest. This week we have Sam on. Now, Sam started the Instagram page, YouTube, all of that, the podcast as well that he does. Golf Saved My Life, you might know him as. And I think it's a really important story. I'm recording this intro before speaking to Sam, so I'm sure lots through the episode is going to come out. But for anyone struggling, for anyone finding life incredibly difficult, because it can be at times, and it can be difficult to see a way out, I think Sam's story is going to be an inspirational one, and one where you can see how golf can be such a powerful tool in your life to be able to provide escape from times when everything else is just very difficult to deal with. So I thought I'd bring you Sam's story. Sam reached out as well and we spoke, and I thought it would just be lovely to be able to have Sam on and to enjoy conversation with him and to find out a little bit more about his journey and what brought him to starting Golf Saved My Life. So without much further ado, I don't know if that's the correct way of saying that. Without further ado, I think is the correct statement. Anyway, I get statements wrong all the time. What did I say the other day? I said something about to die on their sword, and that's not the correct. It's to fall on your sword or to die on the heel, I believe. Anyway, I get statements wrong all the time, so there's another one. Let's get to the episode with Sam, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, and I'll see you all again next week. Let's head over to Sam. And how's the podcast going? You enjoying it?
It's good. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think that's the thing that I come back to is that I'm still enjoying doing it. You know, I said when I first started, I had no idea who would listen, why they would listen, you know, or who would even say yes to coming on. So I kept telling myself, like, I'll do 10. I was like, I'll get to 10 episodes and I'll see if the numbers are still going in the right direction. Then that's fine, and I'll carry on. But yeah, I got to 10 and I'm just enjoying it, and people are still saying yes, and So
Yeah.
that's important for me. As long as people are still tuning in and the numbers are either steady or growing, then for me that works at the moment. While I'm sort of still trying to
100%.
work this whole content creation side of life out. It's a bit.
I try and avoid that word like as much as I can.
I know. I hate it. I feel like I always. I feel myself cringe inside a little bit when I talk about it. Yeah,
we done something where we went with Golf Escapes. They sent us to a local place which does like a spa and all those types of things. And my wife came with me, and it was like a real cool concept of stay and play for him and her.
yeah.
And we got to the mill that evening, and we were looked after like amazingly well. We got to the mill that evening, and the waitress was really nervous, like really nervous. And she sort of was like, "So this is what you can have." She's like, "Because you're the influencers, aren't you?" Oh, mate, my heart sank. I went, no,
Yeah.
no. I said, like, I'm Dave. This is my wife, Robin. Like, I'm fortunate to be here. This is crazy, you know. And she relaxed and stuff. But I did sort of wonder, blimey, like, what experiences has she had where she's actually quite nervous of these like people, which is that's
Scary,
where
isn't
we're
it,
in now,
really?
mate. I guess,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and it's finding that balance because you are creating content, but it's like going down the rabbit hole of trying to follow everyone else and all that stuff, which gets it can get a lot, can't it?
Yeah, you want to be supportive of other people who are trying to support you as well. And I think there's this weird little community of us on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and whatever else, and we all try to be supportive of each other. But sometimes, like, you'll see like lists of people come through in the morning, you just think like, I've got to get the kids ready, I've got to get to work, I've got to get. I was like, I'll come back to that later, and then you sort of feel like later on in the day, like you haven't done it. You think, well, you know, they're probably sitting there thinking, why isn't their channel growing? Or, you know, some people are really paranoid about follower count as well. They watch it and refresh it like constantly. But then I think, you know, how has this become part of my daily life that I'm worried about stressing other people out who for what is essentially a hobby for a lot of us, isn't it? You know, for a lot of us, this isn't the 9 to 5. This isn't paying a mortgage. This is it's a passion project for a lot of us, isn't it? And you know, it shouldn't be this stressful sometimes.
No, absolutely, man. I think people, you know, either tune into your podcast, tune into my podcast, and they think, oh, it's got maybe what this guy does for work. Like somehow it's like, I wish. Like, eventually, like let's hope. Let's hope that that's a possibility. But you know, being honest with ourselves and stuff, we know where it sits. You know, we know what it is. It would be great if it did turn into that. But I think you had the key to it, that you were enjoying it.
Yeah,
and that has to be the main focus on all of it. I know Lee Brennan, who LA Golf Channel, he started his, and you know, I talked to him about that, and I just said, as long as you enjoy it, mate, just do it for that reason. Talk to people you want to talk to, the people that you think have stories. And you know, sometimes people don't have stories, and you thought they might. You know, that can happen. That can happen too,
it
right?
Falls a bit flat, doesn't it? Yeah.
But you know, I think that's always what, and I think that's why this was bound to happen at some point, Sam, because I'd heard a little bit about your story. I've sort of purposely not. I say purposely not done a lot of research, because that's not intentional, because I'm quite lazy also. But I truthfully do it so that we can have a conversation like we were having a conversation if we were sitting down, sort of chatting about it in a clubhouse, you know. And I do know a small part of your story, and I know it can be very inspirational for people that listen as well. So I guess what sort of led you to starting Golf Saved My Life, and feel free to talk as much and as little about your journey to that point, if you can, mate, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, you know, I've spoken about it on my channel and some other platforms before. So there's been various iterations of me trying to play golf through the years. You know, I sort of did the whole, you know, Dad took me out when I was younger, and then sort of in my late teens tried to play again when I was at university, but drinking and other activities got in the way of taking that seriously. And then I sort of grew up and had the family, and then I fell into a bit of a bad mental state, really. You know, I had a lot of struggles with debt and depression, and just I wasn't in a very good place mentally, Dave, to be honest. Spoke, very nearly took my own life, and sort of on very much on the other side of that now. I've been through the therapy processes, and just trying to work on better myself and understand what goes on in my head a little bit more now. And I found golf and on the tail end of that really as trying to find something to channel my very busy head. I use the analogy of JD from Scrubs. The premise of the show Scrubs is that we're all listening to his narration of his life, and that is what my head is like. Still today, it's like that 24/7. It feels like I'm constantly either overanalyzing something I'm about to do or something I've just done. And in some environments, that's really good. I find that's really helpful in my job. I work in the corporate world in financial services, doing insurance programs. So I have some quite big, technical, very interesting clients who have worldwide programs that I need to understand. And I find that I say voice in my head, it sounds like, I don't have any sort of psychosis issues or psychotic issues, but it's like an analytical side of my brain. And I find it good in that side of things, but also that has negative connotations. If I've had a bad day, that voice is telling you you've had a bad day, and
like a downward spiral sort of thing that happens.
Exactly that, yeah. And downward spiral is exactly right, Dave. You find yourself spiraling quite quickly, and the voice isn't always there to be the pick me up that you might need in those moments. So I think I've always, as I've gotten older, I've tried to find something to control that or tame it or keep myself busy. And golf was such a big factor in that for me. I found an old set of golf clubs in my dad's garage I hadn't touched for 13 odd years. We briefly lived in Ireland, and I found I got a set of clubs while I was over there. And I just went to the range, and that's sort of what I found sort of kept everything a little bit quiet for me. And I sort of started to really appreciate the mental health benefit for not just me, but what I imagined was other people as well who may not quite realise it. Is probably the way I'd look at it, or maybe too scared to shout about it. Too scared to say it out loud sometimes. And I think, like all of us, when we're trying to get better at golf, I was trying to be cheap basically and film myself rather than go and see a golf coach. And you tell yourself you're not going over the top, and then 2 seconds into the video, you're like, there it is. Yeah, got it. And I found that I had all this footage on my phone, and I just thought, I think because I had more of an interest, the golf interest was picking up again. My algorithm was just full of it, and I thought, what if I just post a video of me shanking that ball somewhere, or whatever else it might be, or a meme style video, and it just started from there really. And I thought about, I always wanted it to be a way of me telling my story and finding some way that I can use my story to maybe try and help others, or maybe for someone else to realise that they might be suffering the way that I was. They might not realise it. They may be too scared to, like I say, say it out loud, or someone might connect that a friend's going through something like that. I don't know if my content journey is exactly mapped out that way perfectly, and I still think, my channel will evolve into something different in time. I'm still not quite sure how that picture looks, but I think that's why I started. I just wanted people to understand what I'd been through, and maybe if they're going through something similar, that then they're not alone. I think that's the key thing that I think is really important on the mental health side of things, because I think probably as men as well, not to be stereotypical, but we are the worst people in the world we're stubborn. We won't admit we're always in the wrong, even when it comes to our own health, either physical or mental. So it's it was. I suppose that's it in a nutshell, really. So I dragged on a little bit, but it's trying to. Yeah, that's I think why I started it, and I sort of wanted to use it as an outlet, because at the time I always say, like, I felt quite alone in that time. I have a large group of friends on paper, like in group chats and stuff like that. I have a handful of very close friends, but like I say, being a man again, I'm the worst person in the world for talking. You know, something that I'm learning to get better with. But I think that's an ongoing project, and probably will be for the rest of my life, I think.
I think it's a generational thing as well, right? Because I think of, you know, the way we were brought up, and you know, maybe it'll be different for your kids, for my kids. Maybe that will be different for them, and hopefully it will. But there was definitely that, not the stiff upper lip, that was probably like before, but it was just a little bit more of like, just sort of suppress it slightly, get on with it. Like, it wasn't as bad. It's not as bad now as what it was when we were kids. That sort of stuff that was going on, and I think it led to situations like what you were saying there, Sam. And I know that, you know, you're saying you started the content thing. You had a lot of swing videos and everything like that, which was kind of like your stress test of social media. But I know there was that post that you put out, which is the one that I really sort of, first of all, I noticed was you just talking about your experiences in your car, and it was so candid and so honest as well. And I think it just cut through. Sometimes social media can be full of nonsense, right? It can, like even stuff I post, it can be total nonsense sometimes because I thought it would be cool. Like, oh, it's a cool little edit and stuff. And I'm sure you've got posts like that as well, right? Where you just like,
99% of everything else is exactly that.
but that post was so important because it literally looked, and I'm guessing this might be the case, it literally looked like you've been sitting on that thought of, I should share this, I should share this. And you just got in your car at one point and just thought, I'm going to share it.
Yeah.
And was that pretty much it?
Pretty much now on the head, Dave. So if you could see the memory card that video is on, so that I filmed that. I just finished playing 18 holes, and throughout that round, there's probably 6 or 7 different versions of that video of me at various points around that golf course trying to film that video. And I either panic because someone's walking down the opposite fairway and might hear me, and then, or someone's coming up on a lawnmower, and I think, right, now I can't do this now. He's going to ask why I'm talking to the camera. And then I just got in the car, and I just like, it wasn't scripted or anything. I knew roughly what I wanted to say and just talk about, you know, my journey. And yeah, I just thought, you know what, no one's got to get in here. You know, it's just me. It's almost like you're a little cocoon, isn't it? You know, in your car, it's like a safe place. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's, you know, no one can get in, no one can hear me in here. You know, and it just sort of all blurted out, and it was just one take, and it was just rolled. Now, it was, in hindsight, content creator hat on, it was far too long for any sort of algorithm to pick it up. But at the same time, I wasn't thinking about anything like that. I just wanted the message to get out, because I was at the point where you're going on these golf days and you're meeting more people, and the question does come up, is, you know, it's like, oh, why is your channel called that? You know, did golf save your life? And then you sort of having to then have that conversation over and over again. And I've got no problem having that conversation. And I think a couple of weeks earlier, I went to an event. There's a group called Stuck in the Sand Trap, where it's about men who are having mental health difficulties and just life struggles and stuff. And I more or less said most of that to some random guy who I'd met 2 holes earlier. I was just chatting through it. I was like, you know, it's a conversation I was already having, but I just thought, if I just put it out there to the world, it's done. But yeah, I mean, my finger hovered over that share button probably for about 45 minutes. Just do it, don't do it, do it, don't do it. But yeah.
Well, I think it, you know, it was a real brave thing to do, because
thank you.
I can completely understand that because of the honesty of it, right? And just like we were saying, social media is full of not dishonesty, but it's full of sort of clutter and everyone trying to fit in. And just for you, just literally to go like, this is my story, this is how it actually was, you know, to talk on the things like the debt that you've got yourself in and stuff like that as well. Like, that's not easy stuff to bring up, especially as men.
Yeah,
the pride, you know, and all that sort of side of things as well. And I do think it's important, mate, because at the end of the day, there's definitely other people struggling with stuff like that. Yeah, you must have. I mean, have you had sort of experiences of people reaching out to you and saying like, mate, this couldn't have come at a better time, like I'm struggling with this right now, and things like that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I put in a video. I was like, if you don't feel you can talk to anyone, I was like, just reach out to me, drop me an email, drop me a DM. And I thought, you know what, if a message comes through, that would be great. But the amount of stuff that popped up in my inbox or comments on the post and everything with people's stories and people who've been through similar experiences or completely different experiences, but were still having a struggle, of some sort. It was really eye opening, even for me going through it. You sort of assume there are other people out there, but that there's just so many things going on in people's lives that you take for granted. And then there's like people who I've met who live 20 minutes away from me, and we've sort of formed conversations and relationships outside of that, and we're local people going through similar things in it. Yeah, it's been really eye opening, and I was quite taken back by the amount of responses that I got. To be honest, yeah, it's quite overwhelming. Just like some of them come through, they were just these huge paragraphs, and sort of like I was on the road, like on the way to meeting, and I didn't want to. And then sort of going back to that, you don't want someone to think they've not read your message. I was like, I just responded back to this one guy in particular, Marv. I was like, I have read this. I was like, but I want to come back and respond properly. I was like, I will come back to you later on. I'm literally flying into a client meeting. And again, you sort of feel like I wanted to give everyone the time to feel like they'd been heard and actually acknowledge, rather than a thumbs up on a thumbs up comment on a message and just move on. But yeah.
I think it's brilliant that people have reached out, and I think golf being part of it is a great thing, but also probably quite a difficult thing, especially when it comes to. I think golf can be viewed as a chance for men to talk, but I think the reality is that most of us get out on the course, and like I've seen like these Instagram posts make me laugh quite a bit actually, because you'll see like a wife or the husband will come back from round of golf and she'll be like, "Oh, how's Sam doing?" It's like, yeah, he shot a 78 today actually. Played really well. Shot a really nice one into a par four. She's like, yeah, but how's he actually doing? You're like, I don't know. Play golf. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think we often say like, oh, it's a 4.5 hour walk. Chance to catch up and all that. And in our minds, it can be that, but then in reality, you then get so focused on golf that it can be a blessing and a curse in many ways. And you talked about golf being like a great way to quiet your mind. Is it sort of like a 50-50 share of the social and also like the quiet that you enjoy, or do you find it sort of skews one way or the other?
No, I think I see it I think 50-50 is probably right. So, I play with a small group of people. I don't have a lot of what I'd call golf mates. Yeah, there's a small group of like my friendship group that play golf. One in particular who I play quite frequently with. We've known each other for 20 odd years. So, and we will chat and we will now and again talk about family and what have you. But, prime example, I played with him last Tuesday and then I dropped him home and quickly said hello to his son and his partner. And then when I got home, my partner was like, "Oh, we saw so-and-so, how's she doing?" I was like, "I think she's okay." I was like, I think she's doing all right. Yeah. And she's like, "Well, what did you guys chat about for 4 or 5 hours?" It's like, golf, it's like work a little bit. I was like, mentioned something about something else. But again, you're right. I think in an ideal world, we claim we're having these deep conversations with each other when we're not. It's there may be an odd question where you sort of realise bits and pieces that are going on, or people have changed jobs or what have you. But it's not the big therapy talks that we have. But I still quite enjoy a solo round for myself, and I think that's where I get my quiet time. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry. I quite like a solo round. I try and get out early, and I find that's where I get my quiet time on the course. And I find that's probably the best time for when I have that sort of self-therapy session where I can just let the brain quieten and just try and just focus on that little white ball for 4 hours. So that's where I try and like to get a little bit of a split for my own head, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the only opportunity for that sort of deep and meaningful conversation is also every golfer's worst nightmare of slow play.
Yeah.
Like that, that could be really the only time you actually get to talk, because you're going in, unless you're amazing golfers playing a similar sort of level of the game, you're going in different directions, right? Most of the time, it's like, well, I'm over there. So I'll see you in 10 minutes when we make our way to the green. So, I really like that it can bring you both, and I think that solo is morning by choice, Sam, or is that necessity?
I do quite like getting out early because I think it gives me the rest of the day. But at the same time, I have 2 young kids, so trying to negotiate a weekend round is always under the promise of I'll be back by 11, and we've still got the day to do things. Or it's like I'll go out really late in the afternoon during the summer months because the kids are knackered out during the day, and then they'll just conk out towards the evening time. So yeah, it's not always free choice. It's more very much necessity, I think, in my house.
Oh, the balance of being a golf dad that we live. It's not easy. It's not easy. If there's anyone listening who doesn't have kids, and I love my children, they're amazing, but also just enjoy that ability to just go. You can just go, which sounds insane, right?
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, the idea of like a 1 o'clock tea time on a Saturday is like what I imagine the US Iran trade talks are like at the moment. Like, it's a proper negotiation. It's like tactics to try and get. It's a bit of a deal breaker, that one.
Yeah, I saw So Bad It's Good. I think they posted a little reel today, and he was like, "Look, top tip: if you wanna be able to play golf when you like, it's easier to ask sort of after the fact." And he's like, "So Soph, I'm he's like, and also just throw in a compliment. He's like, Soph, you look amazing today." And before he could even say anything, she's like, "You are not playing golf." Right, never mind, didn't work. It's not easy finding the right moment, and that's like another thing which comes into the equation, right? Is like the balance of golf. And I think people assume because we're doing golf things that there's no balance there. It's just all golf. I mean, that's just couldn't be further from the truth, right? It's an as and when situation.
Yeah, I mean, even like my range sessions are squeezed in on lunch breaks during the week to get down, or lessons will be in the spare hour that I'll get between meetings, and that'll be my lunch break today. I'll just go and see Zach for an hour, or the kids have gone to bed quite early tonight. She's watching this new documentary on Netflix. Do you mind if I just disappear and you can watch that show that you really enjoy? It's sort of picking those little times during the week where you think I can get away. It sounds really bad. It's not great relationship advice to anyone who's listening, but it's just trying to. It's like, kids have gone off quite nicely. You've got that thing that you really want to watch. Do you mind if I just slip away for 45 minutes? It's only down the road, but it's just trying to fit it into what is already a very busy life, And if you made a good point of enjoy just being able to pick up a bag of clubs and go, just please do not take that for granted, because it's.
Do not take it for granted. Yeah, no, definitely not. Your way of putting it just sounds so familiar. Like I've found a hack though. I have found a hack. If you've got space for one, a hitting net, like at home, and like I've got the LM1 shot scope LM1, that just means that I can just nip out to the garden. I can hit 20, 25 balls. I can just kind of keep it going. My son quite enjoys swinging a golf club as well. So then it's kind of parenting. Some parenting is happening, not great parenting, but it's some. And that just kind of like keeps it ticking, kind of, it sort of quells my anxiety that I'm going to lose any ability that I had between rounds.
Yeah.
So well worth it if you can fit one in. You may have already seen from the wonderful display behind me that I have partnered with Paint Art as the official footwear sponsor of the Birdie Golf Club podcast, and I am so happy to have done that. Painter golf shoes are incredibly comfortable, first and foremost. Take it from me, I am fussy, and I've got funny feet as well. And the Painter golf shoes fit me perfectly and are extremely comfortable, but also they are just full of tech to be able to empower you to play the best golf possible. Paint, I believe in walking the course, and as somebody that enjoys conversations, enjoys the environment of golf, walking the course is the best way to do that, and you get to fully experience golf as it was intended. You can't do that if you're not in comfortable footwear. Painter are giving you the ability to do that week in, week out, round in, round out. So head over to paintergolf.co.uk and make sure to use the code Birdie Golf Club Podcast, and that will get you 15% off these selected collections. And there's one of the best collections available anyway. Speed Classic, the Jason Day inspired and helped create golf shoe. The Sport Classic and the Reserve Classic, inspired and helped by Min Woo Lee. Head over to paintergolf.co.uk, get yourself the best golf shoes in the game and look incredible whilst you do it, so you can go on and walk the course. Right here in my hand is the ShotScope LM1, which is available right now on the ShotScope website. In fact, it may be sold out at this moment in time. You have to bookmark it and then come back to it when it's back in stock, because it is by far the most popular product in the 2026 catalogue on ShotScope and just throughout the golfing industry. And the reason being, this product here is a launch monitor that is £200 and it is super accurate. I literally took shipment of mine and took it straight to my practice area and was hitting shots, getting accurate feedback, which also links to the app, which is subscription free. It's very exciting. I feel like it's going to level up my practice this year, and I want it to level up your practice as well. So make sure, if you haven't already, bookmark the page, get ready for when it is back in stock. It may be back in stock right now when you're listening to this. Shotscope.com, make sure you pick up the LM1. You can use the code Birdie Golf Club across all the other products on the ShotScope website, but the LM1 is not included in the Birdie Golf Club 15% discount. But you know what? I don't care. I want you guys to get this. £200 is incredible value. It's £199 and it will transform your practice. And if you want to pick up a watch, a rangefinder, whatever it may be, they're the best products in the golfing market when it comes to golf tech. Head over, get your ShotScope products, get the LM1, level up your game this year and do it with ShotScope, who empower golfers. They're a golfer first company. Let's head back to the episode.
It's we're looking at we're looking at the garden at the moment because my daughter's decided that she wants all these changes and she's like, oh, I want a trampoline here and there, and we basically spent the whole weekend, bank holiday weekend, de-weeding and getting rid of all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, but what if we just put a little net there and a little like chipping mat and stuff there? And I just got like an absolutely filthy look back. So I might just I think going down the route of it's better to ask for forgiveness rather than permission in this case might be the way to go.
It's just a smaller trampoline.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You just jump up and down. Like, how big does it need to be?
We can move that to the side. It'll be absolutely fine. Yeah.
Oh, mate, there's struggles. You spoke of friends that you play golf with and stuff like that. How have, like, because I know how friends can be, right? I've got some. I don't like to admit it, but I've got some, and I know how they can be about the social media part and the podcast part. Have they been supportive because of the journey that you've been on, or do you still get it in the neck sometimes?
No, you know what? I thought I'd get it in the neck a hell of a lot more than I did. But no, they've been really supportive, and I think a part of it probably is because of the journey that I've gone through. And I think after, not a lot of people had found it. I kept it very quiet. I didn't really tell too many people about it, and then like all of a sudden you see like the odd so and so started following you. You're like, oh no, busted. Yeah. But then sort of by the time that was happening, that was around the time that I posted that video anyway, and it's quite nice. Like we do an annual like Christmas drinks because we don't get to see each other. We're all getting older. We've all got kids and busy jobs and stuff like that, and not all of us get out as much as we probably should. So we do like an annual Christmas drinks, and the amount of them that came up to me and actually started talking about like some issues that they'd been having that they're not really wanting to talk about. That was really not nice to hear that your friends are suffering, but it was really reassuring, I suppose, and quite. I felt quite honoured that they could talk to me about it. So everyone's been quite supportive of it. Like one of my friends has tried getting into, he's getting into social media, doing things like completely different to golf. He's doing like football and and Arsenal content and stuff like that. So he's then trying to like
Plenty
bounce.
of that. There's plenty of that at the moment, all right.
Yeah, he's picked a good year to do it, I think. Yeah. Well, at the moment, yeah.
Well, at the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
Got a bottle in here somewhere, I think.
But so it's nice that we've been able to talk completely differently how we would ever have spoken before, and he's like bouncing ideas. He's like, "Oh, what do you think about this?" And he started doing like live streaming and stuff. He's like, "Oh, what microphone do you use? What cameras do you use?" And it's nice we can have those different kind of conversations. But yeah, so far no real sort of not too much mick taking. It's all quite it's all been quite positive. And even like the ones that do play golf, like one of my mates, Michael, I spoke about, who I've known for 20 years, who I play with him most. He's like my teammate for the Creator Cup. So it's quite nice I can drag him along for that. He's also a much better golfer than me, so he's probably helping the team a bit more than I am.
I'm sure you're being modest. Like I was going to ask you actually. I suppose getting into the Creator Cup and stuff. How like your golf? How would you describe your golf? If I was to ask you to describe your golf, how would you do it?
Could we just go no comment? Does that work for at the moment?
That works absolutely fine.
No, I'm a bang average golfer. So I've like 16, 17 handicap.
It's not bang average. It's not bang average, Sam.
No, it's been trending the wrong way for me, I think, recently. And I think that's just from probably just being one of those people who I got into the habit of just going to the range and hitting balls and then playing at the weekend. And now I'm starting to actually, like this year has been a bit different. Like I'm trying to work on my putting a lot more. I've got a new coach who I'm going to see, and I'm working on a swing change. So I think this year, hopefully, it will start trending in the right direction. But yeah, I'm a bogey golfer. That's the way I see myself. And I'm quite happy with bogey golf. I moan about when I get a bogey or worse.
Of course. Yeah,
but
of course.
But I then sort of say to myself afterwards, like, I shouldn't really complain.
Yeah. I played that like as was intended according to my handicap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it is an infuriating sport because you're like literally centimeters away sometimes from just such a better score.
Oh yeah.
Like
absolutely.
I played last. I played a little hack for you actually. My wife said to me on Friday,
I saw this.
Did you see this?
I saw your post. Yeah.
I mean, I nearly like the heart started like it was a lot to take in. I was like, sorry, what?
Is this a trap? Yeah.
Wine. So wine for her and a buggy, and then I can just zip around and play golf. And I didn't push my luck. It was like 9 holes. This is fine. But actually, after she was like, we were done in like an hour and 15. It was just a little 9-hole course, like near where I live. And she was like, I could have probably done double that time. And I was like, double that time. That's 80. I could have done 80. But I was literally, I think I shot like 4 over or something like that. But I looked back at that round and thought, I was like so close to just a level par round today.
Yeah.
But it's just that little, like, and it always is putting. I think you're bang on with the putting is the thing that we don't want to pay attention to. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how, like, someone's listening to this, they'll go, yeah, sure, putting, yeah. They're still not going to do it.
We all say
it's mad, isn't
it? It's almost like a theme of the amateur golfer. It's we none of us ever put in enough time putting. Even the people who do practice a lot, there were some people who just have a natural ability to be a good putter. But those people probably won't work on it as much, and then they'll find their game slipping. So it's something I tried to work on. I did work on it a lot more at the start of the year, and then I sort of got to a point. Then I got a new putter, worked on it a bit more, and then I just sort of drifted away from it again. But yeah, it's something I think again. Then like a new putter, you're trying to like bed that in over so many rounds. That takes a while to get a bit of a feel for it. So, and I'm at the point now where I'm starting to feel the weight of that a bit better. I'm not the amount of times I've hit a putt the last couple of months. I'm just like that's gone nowhere. Like, what the hell have I done? But then, like I say, last Tuesday, putting was much better. I wasn't like holing loads of like long putts, but I was actually getting relatively close rather than having a 2 putt to get to a tap in or whatever. But yeah, it's you said a really good point. And my mate said this to me the other day. It's so close to being like a good golfer or a good swing or something like that. Like I hit this ball and he went, you were a centimetre away from that being an absolutely cracking shot.
Yeah.
But it's so frustrating because he said that, and I was like, but it's just duffed 50 yards that way. It's like when it should have gone 200 yards
Mm-hmm.
the other way. But yeah,
You,
it's such fine margins.
you look at like Scotty Scheffler always made me laugh when he would like, because he's quite capable of hitting out the hosel. Like he hits the shanks like
Oh
three
yeah,
times a year, I would say, on tour. He manages, which is nothing, but like still quite a lot for a pro. And he makes me laugh because he's just like, yeah, it's really, really close to being a great shot. Like, you know, you're not going to believe how close that was to being really, really good. So I like to, when I do shank one, which has happened quite a lot recently, I just think, Cora, I was close there.
yeah.
That was nearly really, really good.
So frustrating, isn't it? But I think that's what I like about
Oh,
it because it's just it's like an endless pursuit, isn't it? You know, you're never going to hit every single shot absolutely perfectly. Not even the pros do. I mean, how many rounds do you watch on like PJ or Live or whatever kind of golf you watch, and they're aiming for the green and they go long, they're in a bunker, they're in,
mm-hmm.
you know, how many of them actually put it in the water on holes when they could quite easily avoid that and play a safe shot? They don't. You know,
Yeah,
it happens to everyone.
and we're seeing the guys generally on the broadcast that are having a great day.
Yeah.
Like, you're not really seeing the guys that are shooting 5 over.
No.
Like, they don't appear on a radar unless they're like leading the tournament, and then it's considered they choked. Oh, they
Yeah.
choked. It's like,
Mm.
no, they just had one of their not so good days today,
Yeah.
like most of us,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
You
So
can't
yeah, I
be
think
on
that's,
100% of the time either, can you? It's impossible.
and I do think the broadcast do us a little bit of a disservice with the commentary when someone like hits it to a foot on a really tight pin, and they're like, "Ah, oh, that was perfection." And I know if Scott Fawcett's listening to this one, when we were speaking about it, he's like, "That is a push or a pull,
Yeah.
like 10 yards guaranteed." He's like, every time. He's like, but they never talk about it, you
No.
know. And I think that does get into the mind of the amateur of like, I just need to aim at pins,
Mhm.
and then we cause ourselves all sorts of trouble, don't we? Like,
Yeah.
it's
The game management side of I think, is so underappreciated as an amateur, like me included. Like, I'm only really sort of starting to pay attention to. You made a good point there. The pin's there. It's roughly that distance. I'm going to go for that pin. Now, there's probably a lake and a bunker just at the front of that green. I'm still going to go for the pin, whereas there's probably 80 foot to the right of that pin on a great big green, and I could get
yeah.
it on there quite safely. But we don't. We all want that glory moment, don't we? You know, we're all looking in for that
Oh,
long hole out or whatever else. But yeah,
yeah. My best round, and I'm going back to that place in a couple of weeks time. Do a little golf trip up to Rodway Hill in Gloucester. And
oh,
it's just a nice little track, and you can stay on the course, and it's a great weekend. And my best round there was literally, I just turned around to myself. I said, all weekend, I'm just going to aim at the fat of the green, like the biggest
yeah,
middle part I can go for. And I said, I'm not just going to do that up to 100 yards in. I'm going to do that until I'm literally on the fringe of the green. If I'm on the fringe of the green, I'm going to allow myself to look at the pin.
mm.
And I just all weekend, and we shot a 79 alt shot, and I was playing
Oh,
off 12, and a mate of mine was playing off 15, and we shot a 79 alt shot, and then
oof,
I shot 78 the next morning, and it was
jeez,
like, that just makes golf so. I mean, it's not an amazing score, like, you know, but it was way better than what I was capable of
yeah,
before that, because I definitely would have started aiming at pins. So, like, if anyone listening is looking to break out, that's my secret sauce to breaking 80. Just ignore the pin completely until you're on the fringe.
yeah, yeah.
Like, that's huge. Yeah, that's
It's
huge. I've found.
there's almost two brains to it, isn't there? There's the sort of it's like the chimp paradox, isn't it? So
Mm-hmm.
there's the one that wants to go for it, that wants to have the fun, that wants to do the ego shots, and then
Yeah,
there's, for me, sensible Sam sitting in the background. Like, say, go to that bit on the right where there's you know, half an acre, and you're not going to get
yeah,
any trouble. But yeah, it's letting the chimps argue between themselves sometimes.
absolutely. And I know you were talking about sort of, you know, quieting the voices a little bit and your analytical side of your mind. I think I struggle with this a little bit as well, and I think there's probably a lot of people that do. How do you find the stat side of golf, the numbers and all that? Does that sometimes, do you have to sort of remind yourself to steer away from that, or do you still enjoy that because of the way your mind works? It's a difficult balance, I'd have thought.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult because I think you notice it the more you get into golf. Like, I think when you start on a bit of a journey because you think you want to improve or you're trying to improve, I think stats just naturally come along. Like I have a shot scope watch and tags. So what I'm finding now is that I'm looking at the round reports that come out after more than ever to try and work out where I can practice. But I think that's good for me because I think that works for my kind of brain. Because I can, like, there'll be times where I think I've actually not been too bad off the tee today, but when I actually look at the round report, I'm thinking, yeah, but I'm actually losing. You know, it's gone relatively straight, but I'm losing distance. Whereas I could actually, you know, maybe drop a club, hit a bit more of a confidence shot, and probably make up that distance. And you know, maybe I think the stat side of it works for my brain. I think it can be a bit overwhelming sometimes. I think if you're really new into golf, and someone gave you one of those round reports, you'd probably look and think, well, what's that going to get me? What do I need to do next week to improve that? Or
gained?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why am I comparing myself to a scratch tour player? This doesn't quite make sense at the moment. But yeah, so I think it can be a bit overwhelming. But I think it's if you understand how your mind works, you know, understanding yourself and what you want out of the game. That's the key part for me, because if you just want to go out and smack a ball and you know, get the fresh air and have a chat with your mate and enjoy yourself, then that's fine. But if numbers and stats, if that's the way your brain works, then steer into it, because there's a mountain of data out there that can help you. It can be a bit overwhelming, but I think if you're going to spend the time to get better, then spend the time to actually understand what you're reading.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you found as well with your green reading, do you do that by feel, or do you have like a system in place for that? Because with an analytical brain, I find this a really interesting question to ask people. Which one do you do when you get to the green? So everything up to it is analytical. Are you analytical on the green?
No, I sort of switch off when I get there. And it's probably, I should do more. And I'm sort of starting to take a bit more time to look both sides of the hole now. It's not something that I've always done. I'm still relatively early on in my golfing journey. But whereas before, I'd always sort of walk a bit left to right. I think, yeah, that's sort of, you know, it's roughly going that way. But now sort of I can't remember who told me. Someone said, I'll just take the time to go to the other side of the flag and look at it from the opposite way in. And every now and again, you'll see like a little bit of a ridge or a dip or something. And I found this just worked for me. But I think I'll probably, as I progress, what I hope is that I get a bit more and understanding my stats. I'll try and get a bit more analytical on that side of things. But yeah, at the moment, I try and just think, let's just get as close as we can. You know, it's always, let's just try and not get worse than a 2-putt. Rarely works, but
oh mate, yeah. I was talking to James Sharp about this, who's sort of my coach, and he was saying, he was like, it's sort of assessing my game essentially, and it kind of got to, he's like, right, how do you factor in a shot when you're 120 yards out? And I'm like, well, you know, I take into account what the carry distance is for the front bunker. I'll take into the wind, sort of my shot tendencies from that yardage. Is it worth clubbing up, clubbing down? Wind, slope. Is it hot? Is it cold? All these things. And he's like, great. He's like, then what do you do when you get on the green? I was like, I look at it, and I was like, you know, I'll sort of maybe look from the other side of the hole. I might walk around it a bit, and then
sometimes I'll squat down and try and look in.
I've laid down sometimes. I've done a Fitzpatrick and laid down. I was like, but generally I'm just judging it with my eyes and trying to see a line. And he's like, that's interesting. He's like, so you take into account numbers and analytics and wind and all those things, and then you're all feel based when you get on to the most important part. I was like, well, Tiger was feel based. He's like, Tiger had a system, mate. He just didn't tell anyone about it. And I was like, okay, all right, yeah, that's a good point. And he's like, so we've been working on green reading and like actually being a little bit much more analytical. But I do think that is like a very common thing in the game, that when people get to the green, it's all touch, it's all feel, it's, you know, yeah.
Well, it's like that. My mate Mike, who I play with, like we played last week, and he was trying to tell me about aim point, and he's like a single digit handicapper, and he's been playing since he could walk, first start walking. I was like, you are explaining this to the wrong person. I was like, at some point I might get it, but he's like, no, stand either side of this ball. He's like, so where do you think it's going? I was like, I can't tell you. I was like, it looks straight to me. He's like, no, it's got to go this way. He missed the part anyway, but
which is great because then you can be like, well, look, it doesn't matter anyway, does it?
I don't say anything. I just wait for him to look at me and then just But yeah,
Well,
I think aim point and stuff like that it's a place for it. And there's, like I say, I think if you're an analytical or a field person, it really works for one or the other. But I think, for me at the moment, I need to spend a bit more time, exactly like what your coach said, spend a bit more time trying to understand what shot you're actually trying to hit, like you would an iron or, off the tee. It's the bit where it all matters in my eyes. We spend all the time trying to get there. And then when we get there, we take our foot off the gas and think, we'll just, I'll just thin this through the green. Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a mad game. It's mad that it does that to us. And it's all confidence based. Like from tee to green, it's all confidence, right? It's believing that you're capable of doing what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Which again, if you start overthinking that, and I've been in this space as well, and I'm sure you have as well, you started overthinking that and think about what we're actually doing, that this small club is an extension of my arm that I'm swinging as fast as I can to hit a small white ball to a pin, which is tiny, hundreds of yards. I mean, it's just too much. I try and not do that when I'm out on course.
Yeah. Also, like there's such fine margins in golf. Like you can't really think about it like that at all. Because if that club face is, there's a really good picture that circulates online, and it's a driver face that is like half a degree out like that, and then half a degree going the other way, and like the tag is something along the lines of, this way is 20 yards off to the left, and trying to explain that to a non-golfer seems absolutely insane. There's such a fine margin where if you hit that ball perfect, it's a miracle, really. If you think how consistently some people can hit it on that exact spot every single shot over and over again. Yeah.
It's crazy. And do you enjoy, obviously playing golf you enjoy because of what it provides. Do you enjoy watching golf?
Yes. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I don't watch every single round. I'll sort of I'll love watching, like, the Masters, the Open Championship, stuff like that. I like watching the majors. I'm sort of I was quite pro live. Obviously, we don't know what's quite going to happen with them at the moment, but I had no problem watching live golf. And I'd watch some of the bigger PGA tournaments. I quite like watching the DP World Tour because I think that's why I like live, because it's not just corporate America a lot of the time, and I quite like that side of things. You've seen a lot more parts of the world. So yeah, I do quite enjoy watching golf.
Yeah, I think it's a nice. I mean, I don't think anything beats the Masters, does it?
No.
Like I know the Open's here, and it's great to have these players come here and play their golf, and kind of we don't, because the courses they're playing are normally bucket list courses for most of us.
Yeah.
But the idea of them playing in the wind, the cold, and the rain is quite appealing, because it's like, welcome. You're here. You've arrived. But for me, the Masters, like the time of day that it is, the fact that it sits at that sort of that Sunday round as well, being like 7 o'clock onwards. Kids have gone to bed, like silence in the house, a nice beer, glass of wine, whatever it is, and just being able to really soak in the atmosphere of the whole thing. I just think it, almost especially in the UK, sets itself apart as a major. Like, it's just perfect.
Yeah, I think you're either an Open person or a Masters person, aren't you? I've always struggled to split the two. I get exactly what you're saying about the Masters, and I do love it because it feels like that Sunday evening. It feels like you're just watching Golden Hour constantly.
Yeah,
I'm sure they just put a lens on halfway through the day just to get the lighting right all the way through. But there is something quite magical about watching it. I have always absolutely loved the Open. I don't quite know why. But I think if you had to pick one, you'd probably pick to play. You'd always pick the Masters, and I think it's because most of us will never get the chance to play Augusta. Whereas, like you say, you can play most of the Open courses. Okay, it'll cost you a small fortune, and trying to get on any of them, it will be a fair wait list, but none of us can just rock up to Augusta and put our name on a tee sheet no matter how long a wait list. And I think that's what makes it that bit more magical. Seems like a bit of almost like a childish fantasy, but it sort of it sort of puts it on a bit more of
a for golfers.
It puts it on a bit more of a pedestal, doesn't it? That it's somewhere that, you know, the golfing layman's can't just rock up. No matter how much money they put towards a green fee. Sorry, you know, we're never going to be able to play there. So I think that's what just sets it apart a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the fine balance of golf in the 2026, isn't it? Because it's Liv has done a great job of making golf more widely available to bring different people into the game. Like, and I know people laugh at that, but that cannot be ignored. You look at the Australian markets.
Yeah.
You look at when they went to Mexico,
India,
even over here in the UK, India.
Yeah.
You know, he's done an amazing job, and it's sort of forced the hand of the PGA Tour to become better. You know, be better, you know, because we're offering something here. And I was talking last week to Coach Leon from the US, Canadian coach from the US.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And he was saying, he's like, let's just not ignore the fact that Liv offered pathways to young guys where they didn't have to worry about could they make a living from golf. Like, those guys got money straight out. They got to learn off the likes of Phil Mickelson, John Rahm, Sergio Garcia, like all these players, and straight out of college. He's like, and that forced the hand of PGA Tour to be like, right, now we're going to have to offer an immediate pathway to the likes of your Luke Clantons and so on to be able to, Thor Bjornsson and all these players to get immediately from college straight into the PGA Tour. So, like, that's the difficult balance of golf, is that, you know, it's got to evolve. It's got to become 2026 worthy to survive. Like, that is the nature of it. But then the Masters needs to remain what it is. And St Andrews needs to remain what they are. Like, they are steeped in tradition. Let's keep it that way. And I don't care if that means I never get to play it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Augusta in particular, there is a status to it. I think it was sort of, I know your opinion because I listened to your episode with Lee on it. I did feel that the par 3 was a bit tainted this year. It felt a bit, and there was it could have been a lot worse, because I've heard there were some certain broadcasters who were trying to get in and sort of had a moan that they weren't able to. But yeah, I think it became a bit of a. They tried to make it a bit of a TV show this year rather than the golfing spectacle that it has always been. I know the par 3 is meant to be a bit more of a family fun day and stuff like that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I enjoyed the golf on the par 3 contest this year. I didn't quite enjoy the broadcast side of it. You know, some of the caddy. I don't think I've ever seen a child interviewed more. I'm talking, Tommy Fleetwood's son, more than Rory McIlroy across 9 holes. We sort of seemed a bit extreme to me, and I think as a dad, maybe that sort of felt a bit weak. Just let the boy be. He was stressed enough about taking that shot on. Is it on the 9th? And just the amount. I've never seen a child interviewed that much on across the space of a couple of hours. It felt a bit insane. And then there was
is he 9? Is he 9? Is he?
I think he's young, isn't he? Yeah, he's a young lad. Yeah, and then sort of Kevin Hart as a caddy, and it felt a bit gimmicky. Feels a stretch because it wasn't across the whole field, was it? There was a select few individuals, but yeah, I think that sort of took the magic away a little bit for me on that side of things.
Yeah, it was contrived. Like, do you know what I mean? It just it was like, let's squeeze these celebrities in because it's a loophole. Like, I feel like your Brysons and such like found a loophole and they exploited it. And I wouldn't necessarily have a problem if it was anywhere else but Augusta National. Like, that should be. There's a certain reserved nature to the whole thing that makes it special. And if you strip that away, it becomes very, very different. And I actually thought it was interesting. I saw the announcement today from Grant Horvat and the Brian Bros about this Your Golf Tour.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very interesting the selection of players that they picked from it, because they could have gone in the direction of, like, they could have tried to find a way to squeeze people like Kevin Hart, whoever it was, LeBron, who, I think it's amazing that these people are getting into golf. It opens up a whole new sector of people, but I think they've recognised that actually there's a gap here where golf is maybe falling into a space where it almost is losing its identity. That actually we can offer some really great competitive golf that people can watch, from start to finish, from the moment the teams are picked, from the staying in their accommodation, from all these things, kind of like Internet Invitational almost vibe, but make it like serious.
But
and the fact that they
basically. Yeah.
Serious, but yeah, exactly. Good characters, but all of them were aspiring professionals, so all of them can play. And I just feel like, it's a different circumstance, but even they're recognizing that actually it's not just a thirst for personalities; it's a thirst for really great golf and understanding the person behind that great golf.
Yeah,
I think that's what people care about, really.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah, I think I'd be very interested to see how the par 3 gets run next year. I'd be surprised if there's not some slightly stricter rules in terms of caddy requirements for that one. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think there's a place for the entertainment side of it. Like the Internet Invitational did humongous numbers. Let's be honest, the audience that pulled in over such a short period of time was amazing. And as a spectacle and as a show, it's fantastic from an entertainment spectacle. But I think if you want to watch good competitive golf, then it probably wasn't the place for that. There's some, if you look at, is it Brad Dork or Dorky? I don't know quite pronounce his surname.
Yeah.
Phenomenal golfer, but you didn't exactly see his jokey entertainment side of, his character. There was a lot more entertaining characters through that show. Whereas if you actually tuned into what Horvat and the Bryan Bros are doing, that I'm sure you'll see him be an absolute shining star through that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He's captain one of the teams and all that as well, which is, it's going to be very interesting this next few years to see what that sort of golf entertainment / sort of, now it has to be considered a tour, right? That has to be considered like an option, which you'd never have, I couldn't have foreseen that. When I think about, and I'm sure you're in the same boat, of Rick Shields, Peter Finch, when they first started out, and it was driver fix videos, sort of all filmed on a bit of a potato, really, when in comparison to now, to see where it's gone, like YouTube golf, and even creating opportunities for people like yourself and me, where we can kind of build these podcasts and have people on, and there be opportunity. Just didn't exist, did it? Just totally didn't exist.
Well, if you said to anyone 5 years ago, more people would watch golf on YouTube than they would the PGA or through professional tours, they'd probably laugh in your face. And I know it has had golf has had a boom in the last 5 years anyway, but it's just the numbers are, and it's not slowing down either, is it? More and more names, like say LeBron and that getting into it, just brings more eyes and more attention to sport. Whether that's good eyes, it's yet to be seen with certain people getting into it. But it's good. More attention has to be good for the sport, really, shouldn't it?
Absolutely. And obviously, you're going to be making waves in the Creator Cup.
Oh God, yeah. Well. My mate said to me about it. It's like, 6 rounds for the first stage, isn't it? I was like, we're not going to get beyond the first couple. So I wouldn't worry about the beyond the
well,
the
not with that
finals.
attitude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, actually, no. Like I said, we played last week, and I messaged him the next day. I was like, my handicap went up slightly after yesterday's round. After he signed off my card, and he's like, "Oh, that's good. We'll get more shots in going into the tournament." It's like, right, brilliant. That's a
There's that positive affirmations that you needed there.
Yeah, take the bright side of anything. Yeah.
Are you looking forward to that though? Do you think is that a competitive but also fun sort of environment that you're looking forward to competing in?
Yeah, from my perspective, I'm looking forward to seeing how the tournament goes, because it's the first year for it. And they've gone quite a big scale, haven't they? There's a lot of big names who are in it. I'll be fascinated to see how it actually plays out in its first year. But yeah, I wouldn't say I need the competitive side of it. I'm just doing it to play more golf and meet new people. I think that's the way I'm trying to do it. And I still very much just want to enjoy it. And from a content perspective, for me, I can strap an action camera to my golf bag and, get some footage that way, just to sort of tie into the experience of going through the process. But yeah, so for me, it's just to meet new people, play new courses and do it that way. I'm under no disillusion that we're going to get to the grand final in Portugal. But yeah, it's nice to maybe think, well, we might get an odd decent game here or there, but I don't know. I think there's some questionable handicaps that have been put in across. I've seen some screenshots of I think some people who all of a sudden their My England Golf's been deactivated and they can't do it for another like 30 days or something like that. So yeah, so I think there's going to be some question marks over some scores, but we'll see.
Yeah, and hopefully you don't get. I've got a mate who entered it. Joe Bora got a hole in one on his first round today. So
wow.
yeah, that doesn't help. But that won't help if you're playing against someone who does that. But congratulations to him. There's no actual footage of it going in though. That's the thing. So I've said, unfortunately, I just from a creator side of things, it's poor.
Yeah,
let's be honest. Okay.
One of the biggest creator tournaments hit the country. Yeah, one of the biggest creator tournaments hit the country, and he's got no footage of it. It's not a great start.
He loves that. I bet he's definitely glad he didn't film that for sure. Well, Sam, listen, it's been awesome chatting to you, mate.
Thank you. Cheers.
We obviously got away from it towards the end, but genuinely, your story and your honesty, there needs to be way more of that in the space, and it's difficult, but it really does create opportunity for someone to speak out, for someone who's struggling. To connect with you, I'll pop your email in the show notes as well tonight, as well as links to Sam's podcast as well, and just really be just creating opportunities for people to be able to talk to you, to be able to express it, but also recognise that it's nothing to be fearful of explaining. I just think as men we struggle. So
100%.
Really do appreciate it, Sam. You're very important for the space, mate. I really do think that.
Thank you, Dave. Really appreciate it, and appreciate you having me on. You've taken the time to hear my story and give me a bit more of a platform to talk about it. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you, mate.
No worries, Sam. No worries at all, mate. And no, thank you for coming on. It's a Monday night. Some people have got way better things to do, and I don't blame them. Cheers, mate.